Show you my compost pile. I'm kind of proud of it. You know, it was right here. I just flipped it over here. So, and it was warm. It was getting pretty warm. I have a thermometer I stuck down in it, and it was 45 Celsius. It's about 125 Fahrenheit. There's the kitties chilling. They like to sit out here and watch me work, which it's almost kitty cat supper time. So there's even mama cat hiding over there, and I'm sure Spots is nearby. But I'll show you why I'm getting this compost going, which it's fall, you know, it's September. I set me up some beds. I'm going to try and do this no-till type of gardening, where you basically, I built some raised beds here, put wood chips around the outside of them to keep the grass, and I put wood chips in the pathway right here. You know, I'm using these old pieces of golf clubs and stuff because I was propping up some tarp to keep the sun off of my fall vegetables, because it was kind of beating on them. You know, it's a little too hot for them. For my, that's cabbage, 6 cabbage, and these are broccolini, that baby broccoli. I'm gonna have a couple of kales here and some cauliflower. I got them planted from seed over there. They're, you know, I'll show them to you. This is another bed that I turned over, and I put this is an existing bed. It's been here for years. I kind of turned it over, and I put some compost on top of it, and I put some Brussels sprouts in it. They're kind of getting a little beat too, but I just planted them yesterday, so they're still kind of adjusting. Which I got my sprinkler right there. I'm fixing to kick it on. My basil from the spring, earlier summer. There's one there that's still got good, nice leaves on it that you could put in some pasta right now if you wanted to. These other ones are kind of played out. It gets bitter when it gets this big and the leaves get kind of pointy like that. And the seed pods sprout. But I get the seeds, and you take the seed pods and you sprinkle the little seeds in there. And now I got another basil starting right there. And the basil grows fast. I'll have basil coming out of my ears in just 2 or 3 weeks. Planted some in these too. You know, I just broke one of them seed pods and sprinkled the seeds in there. There's 3 rows of carrots right here. And I don't know, something's sprouting. I don't know if they don't look like a carrot to me. That little sucker right there. And carrots usually have long, thin things. There's some more back there. Those might be carrots. Hell, who knows? We'll know soon enough. It might be too hot for carrots to sprout right now, to be honest with you. Although my broccoli right here, you know, about half of it sprouted. You know, all of my cauliflower right here sprouted. I planted 4, and all 4 of them come up. My kale, 2 kale right there. This is all lettuce. About half the lettuce come up. And I got some cilantro over here. Just a couple of cilantro plants. I think that's half grass, half cilantro, but there's at least 2 cilantros in there. I didn't realize cilantro was a fall kind of plant, you know, but it is apparently. It does really well in the fall and winter. Here's my pad that me and Vince made. This pad kicked our asses, I'm not lying. It's, you know, I thought, well, that's going to be a job, you know. I'm going to get Vince's ass out here to help me. But by the time we got done, we started about 7:30 in the morning, cracking open 35, 80-pound bags of concrete and mixing them by hand in that little trailer over there with a damn garden hoe. And, God, by about 2 o'clock we were done. And I mean, if I moved in any sort of way, and, you know, if I did something like reach down to scratch my ankle or some shit like that, I would lock up there. I just lock up and just have to slowly let the cramps kind of work their way out till I could get straightened up again. And I mean, it was something else, man. I had to take some electrolyte tablets and stuff to just get my muscles functioning again after all that shit. But I'm doing more beds out here. These aren't raised beds like with the wood around them. You know, that's just the old pine tree that I chopped up that fell in the backyard back here. These aren't going to be like that. This wood chips, it's going to have compost about 3.5 foot wide. Right now, that's just one load. I can get about that much. I can get about this many wood chips and this much compost in one load in my truck. Which I got a big toolbox on the back of my truck over there, so can't get too much. And so you get wood chips, put cardboard down first. That smothers out the grass. And you don't disturb the soil. Like I say, when you go to tilling this shit, there's seeds in there that are they're plants, and it's grasses and weeds and stuff that are literally their whole job in life is to repair disturbed earth. So whenever you fire up a tiller and you go to disturbing the earth, it kicks these damn plants. You're mixing these seeds up in this disturbed earth, and it tells them, all right, it's time to fix this shit. And they start growing, and they grow as fast as they can. They seed out, and then you see more of them, and it's a never-ending fight to ever stop them. So as long as you don't till, you just do your thing. Lay your compost down and do your thing. And don't till it. Don't disturb them nasty bastards. Choke out the grass with the cardboard, and then within a couple of months, by the time your plants are big enough to start seeding down into the actual dirt, the cardboard has degraded to a point where the roots can just grow right through the cardboard. The cardboard breaks down because, you know, you're watering it almost on a daily basis. You're going to be watering that stuff, and the cardboard just breaks down. And then the worms and shit eat it and this and that, and it doesn't hurt a thing. You just pull all the tape and shit off of it, you know. All that you can, you know. But we're going to experiment with it. See what it does. That's the reason I got that compost pile going. I'm going to get ready for spring. That compost pile right there will be, you know, a big son of a bitch by springtime. And I'm going to lay out all of these beds and freshen them up with some homegrown compost that ain't like from the city. And this is actually made from, you know, garden scraps, kitchen scraps, you know, leaves out of the woods out here, some pine bark, you know, some wood chips, some of this and some of that, you know, is basically grass clippings. You know, there's no Taco Bell hot sauce packs in it like at the city's compost, or Heinz ketchup packs and shit like that. You find shit like that in the city compost that I get up there, you know, but it's free, but still, you know, it's kind of nasty and you're picking such shit out of it. But apparently it's pretty good compost because it's growing everything. I've put it on all kinds of stuff. I even put it on that over there. That's a bed of asparagus inside of them bricks over there. I've ignored it for years. It's just kind of sat over there and done it. But I'm going to see if I can. I composted it with some of that city compost from Mineola. I'm going to see what it'll do. You know, it might take off. I don't know. We'll just see. You know, all this stuff's kind of an experiment. I've never tried a fall garden myself. But, you know, I'm going to experiment with putting shade cloth over some of these cold weather vegetables this time of year when it's the sun's still kind of beating down pretty good, you know. It's still pretty hot. So I'm going to put shade cloth over stuff, and then, you know, the insects and the bugs and the pests are not supposed to be as bad in the fall. So you don't have to worry about them quite as bad because they're on their way out, you know. A lot of times your insects are hatching and just going crazy in the springtime. When you plant everything early in the spring, that's when everything's coming to life, and all the insects are coming to life too, you know. But in the fall, everything's kind of fizzling out. So I'm going to experiment with it and see what I can do, you know. A lot of times I don't try and grow cabbage and broccoli and some of these types of plants like that have the big succulent leaves, because, man, down here in East Texas, there are pests. What's going on, Mama? What's going on down there hollering at me? It's supper time for the kitties, in case you can't tell. But them big succulent leaf plants, you know, something like cabbage and shit like that, it's just delicious. If it wasn't for these damn cats, I'd have so many rabbits eating all that shit, it'd be useless, you know. You'd have to keep it covered with some kind of fabric or some shit, or keep a fence around it or something. And same thing with the moles. We have moles out our ass here. And the cats, you know, they're pretty good. They're pretty good at handling the moles. Moles and rabbits and stuff like that. They keep them under control. But I get these big ass gigantic caterpillars that are like as big as my thumb. And, you know, they're this long and they will wipe out. Something like a cabbage. They'll eat half a damn cabbage overnight. They'll just devour it. So we're going to see how the fall does and see if we have any better luck growing this kind of shit. Now I might try some insect nets and put over my raised beds and stuff next spring when I get my other compost pile going. You know, we'll see. Try some different stuff that I've seen some of these organic farmers and stuff do to control pests and to grow plants that aren't necessarily in season. You know, you can use shade cloth and shit like that to grow lettuce in the summertime and shit like that. We'll just see. We'll just have to experiment with it and see what it does. Because I'd kind of like to get a garden going where I've always got some seeds going ready to go in the ground. So once something plays out, I got seeds sprouting ready to go in the ground. You know what I mean? So there's no empty soil just sitting there with just waiting on the weeds to take over. Because then you feel like you got to get the tiller out and go through all that shit again. As long as you're constantly planting something and you're constantly laying down a little more wood chip, a little more compost, and pulling a weed here and there, you know, you can make it work. I'm thinking. They're right, Mama Kitty. Oh, Mama Kitty, she showed up with a couple of kittens. The kittens ended up dying, but she made it through. She got sick too, but she made it through. Anyway, I gotta feed cats. You know how it is.